Yeah. Welcome, one and all. A special welcome to the champions. Champions. Ole, ole, ole. Campeones. Ole, ole, ole. It's a good time. A good time, Philip. A great time, really, to be a football fan because football won. Let me not start now because I won't be able to stop. So let's actually start the show, and then I'll explain why it's a great time, an amazing time, a top time. So to get us started and to kick things off the right way, allow me to ask if y'all
good to go.
Are y'all
Good to go.
I said, are y'all
Good to go.
Sound the big thing, them.
Get mad now.
Let me hear a drum play. Champions! Right. Wagwane. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more again to another episode of your favorite podcast. This is Two Bro Twimbos. My name's Danny That Guy, aka Danos the Mad Titan, aka Denford Wegumaraini, aka Denimbi, my life your entertainment, aka done with these streets after 22 long, arduous years. Campeones, ole, ole, ole. Aka Hakuna Mumwendi Danmu.
That's right. I'm unmistakable, the irrefutable, the unquestionable, the undeniable. They're using a background filterable because Dan didn't tell me it was still honorable. Phil Chatter gave them floss, the big boss, baby gave pizza, pieces, and love, filthy Phil, and of course, Shaman did take a drink. So Dan, I was fooling around with Google yesterday. Meets. And it's got this new thing where you can just like generate a background that's really, really, really good. And why didn't you tell me to still on?
I thought that's what you was going for. I don't know. I thought that's what you wanted.
Nah, it's not what I want. Hold on, let me just clear this camera.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm in a sporty mood, so let's celebrate Zimbabweans doing big things who are sportish. Actually, no, this is why it was weird, because I had you on the same channel as the music. Well, congratulations to, let's first of all shout out the Zimbabwean 4x400 meter relay team who clinched gold at the current African Senior Athletics Championships that are running as we speak in Accra, Ghana. Yeah. So, Hove, Zuze, Muishi, and Klovu stunned all their competition in Accra, including the favorites Botswana, and took the 4x400 meter title. So, congratulations to you guys. Also, Hove and Zuze also got themselves solo medals. Hove took 400 meter silver, and Zuze took bronze. So shout out to you guys. It's Dennis Hove and Leaford Zuze who are doing their thing out in Accra, Ghana at the African Senior Athletics Championships that were running this past week. Okay, and I didn't save anyone else. Those are the only ones that I have. But on to the main meat and potatoes, Philip. So I am... Well, at least I would like to think of myself. Yeah, I am a fan of football. I watch Arsenal. Sometimes if I catch another game, I might have it on in the background, whatever. And I don't watch every single Arsenal match. It's, if I am home, I'll watch it. But I won't cancel events to watch a game or anything. I do consider myself a big Arsenal fan. But, I don't know if it's being woke or something, Phil. It's like... Nah, this is just entertainment, capitalism. Doesn't matter. It doesn't materially affect my life. I actually got rent to pay at the end of the month. I got clients waiting on me. I can't be so focused on football, which are all true. And I guess I do feel that way. But there was just a feeling in my heartstrings, Flip, that happened this weekend.
Not even this weekend, on Tuesday.
This weekend, it was on Tuesday. It was midweek. Because this weekend, you guys barely scraped by. Apparently, VAR was very involved in that decision.
You can continue with the agendas as much as you like. We actually love it. We love it. I've been enjoying. I've been enjoying reading the.
Calm down.
Hey, VAR.
Calm down.
Hey, I'm very calm.
Calm down. I'm not.
I'm extremely calm.
I, for one, as a Liverpool fan, I'm actually happy to see Arsenal win. One, because you guys are the kings of super edging. Two,
again, the agenda is agendaring, guys. There's no two ways about it. In a 38 match campaign, the best team is going to come first, period. Like it or not like it. And I get it, because I was pushing the agenda last season as well. I was like, I mean, Liverpool won, but it's like the way they was playing, yet they won. Deserved winners too. Anyway, I'm going back to telling the story that I was telling. So I'd actually forgotten that Manchester City was playing. I had some work. I'd actually had a late evening call with a potential client that might turn into a big deal. If it pans out, I might need help, Phil. I'll hit you up. But for now, it was just an initial, hey, yo, what do you do? What do you do? Da-da-da. Cool. So I was sitting down. I was like, okay, let me prepare just like an introductory thing. Let me do a bit of work. Da-da-da. I'm sitting down and I'm like, oh, I saw a notification on my phone that, Manchester City attempts to ensure Arsenal doesn't win. I was like, let me put it on. Fully expecting. I was like, Bournemouth is a tricky customer, but I was fully expecting, Manchester City will probably take this. Although I must say, in retrospect, the rumors came out that Pep was leaving. Manchester City has been shaky all season anyway. Bournemouth has been on this incredible unbeaten run. I don't know why I just made a quick dismissal of it, because I wasn't paying that much attention. Anyway, I put it on just before Junior Krupi scored, and that was it. There was no work for me anymore. I was locked in. At the end, do you know? The game finishes 1-1. It was tense, and it kind of hit me a little bit. Yo, Arsenal are champions. Hey, yo, I've been waiting for this. Hey, this is dope. Hey, this is cool. And for maybe 15 to 30 minutes, it was like, oh, that's nice. Pretty cool. And then it's probably social media, to be honest. It's probably what it is, because I opened my social media, started talking my talk, retweeting and reposting, and then I start seeing celebrations, and it got me. It got me. Put on some music, cracked open a beer. It's a Tuesday. I don't normally open a beer on a Tuesday.
So look at these lies. Stop. Why are you lying, Dad?
I'm telling you.
Stop lying to the people.
Then my wife FaceTimes me, and it's just pandemonium in the house. There's music playing, I got a beer open. I'm dancing around the house. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm trying to find out if Pablo's is open. He's like, Arsenal won, huh? And since then, it's just been, it's a feeling of joy that I said this today to Mono Mkundu, because we had a little bit of a...
What a name drop. What a name drop.
We had a mini debate.
That up.
We had a mini debate. I was at a seminar earlier today, and it was a debate about music, AI, whatever. So just a little bit of a mini debate. And I said to him afterwards, I was like, you know what, Mono? I think I used to consider myself as a creative. In fact, I still do consider myself as a creative. But I've also been in corporate for such a long time that I think sometimes I need to be reminded that the balance sheet and the spreadsheets and the money and the capitalism and the reports are actually not what's important. Actually, what's important are those things that you can't quantify that theoretically don't matter. You don't have a quantifiable way of measuring how it matters. I've never played for Arsenal. I've never lived in London. I've never even been to London. But I feel joy when a team that I've supported for decades has won. That's unquantifiable. And I think that matters more, at least until it's time to pay your bills. The point is, I said to him, I was like, I think sometimes I need to be reminded that the brain it's not all about the brain, sometimes about the heart. And the heart isn't always easily explainable. Because the premise of our debate, I may as well just say it. He was a panelist, and
the host of the panelist was like, okay, it's a bunch of creatives and like musicians speaking. Here's someone who works in media. Dan, please, can you weigh in? I was like, oh, I was minding my own business. Lucky for you, I stay ready. I stay strapped. So, I was like, okay, here's the thing. We're all talking very idealistically. We're talking about how important it is for the culture and, the soul and the spirit of our music and all of that. And we forget that the money doesn't come from that place. It comes from cold, hard capitalism, corporations, etc. So it's all about value, And, I think there was a spirited debate, and so on. At the end of it, I was like, well, I still do stand by what I said. I think I need to sometimes be reminded that those practical things aren't always what's important. And I learned that lesson twice this week. One, Arsenal. It's true. It doesn't matter. I don't play for that team. I don't know nobody there. I mean, as in I know of them, but they can still spark so much joy in my heart.
No, and I love that for you, man. I mean, I take great joy in seeing you guys win for a number of reasons. One being, I've always loved Liverpool. Like, I didn't have a choice. I was born in, and I've loved Liverpool. But there was a period in my time, in my childhood especially, when I was really involved in football, I preferred to watch Arsenal matches. I enjoyed watching Arsenal matches. The Arsene Wenger era, the David Bergkamp era, obviously the Thierry Henry era. Not so much the Patrick Vieira. He was a bit of a bully. It kind of slowed the ball down.
It's the same era, Phil, but...
But I mean, like, when he was ball dominant, there were times when he was just sitting back in the midfield. It was lovely. And then, even leading up to the early days of Theo Walcott era, it was very entertaining football, and I always loved it. And to me, Arsenal is always one of the cool teams, from the Sega kit to the JVC kits, some of the coolest kits ever. If it wasn't sacrilege for me to wear those, I would wear those. I really wanted a Sega. I still do. I really want a Sega kit. I really want that yellow Sega Arsenal kit.
Nah, you're right. The Drip FC allegations will always be there.
So, that being said, and considering the fact that you guys have always been the bridesmaid, never the bride, you guys have been super edging. The first time you guys won in the 90s, I think you finished second like 4 years in a row. This time, it was 4 years in a row. Was it 3 or 4 years in a row?
3.
This time. 3 times in a row. Like, you know what I mean? Just blue balls everywhere. Like, I don't even know the regulation.
I'd actually put this as our main talking point because I want to start addressing. There's so many things that we couldn't say because we hadn't won. And unfortunately, in competitive sport, you just gonna have to take it until you win. It is what it is. I used to say, we used to be in our, I saw 10 the other day. Keep in mind, I haven't seen this man in years. Well, a year. And we are both just so tense because, the season's almost done. But anyway, some things that I want to address. There's a lot of context that people miss. So number one, the claims that Arsenal don't play pretty football. That's true. Of some matches.
Hold on. I need to answer this.
Right.
So listeners, sorry about that. We were disturbed because one of the leading experts in carbon credits was so pissed off by Dan's video that he posted to social media. Go check it out, by the way. They had an interesting discussion about carbon credits in Zimbabwe. They were so annoyed. They had to phone and get it off their chest. And it turned out to be that was a 30-minute conversation.
No, I believe her exact words is, your video was perfect. I think that's what those were her exact words, which you heard as well as me having heard.
Anyway, we recorded this, right? We recorded it.
Yeah, you know who edits. In fact, I'm going to take that exact line and just put it. Your video was perfect.
You do know that's a qualified lawyer, right?
Yes.
Okay. When you're in jail with Sonia, I will not do anything.
Ish. Anyway, let's focus on what we're talking about. This is a joyous, momentous occasion. I was about to correct some narratives, and there's certain narratives that I think it's important for us to address. So I was just about to say, so many people have had this strong narrative that Arsenal doesn't play pretty football. Everyone keeps it's almost like a mandatory addendum.
to everything. It's like, look, they got it over the line. They didn't play pretty, but they got. And I wanted to pause for a second and say, Arsenal scored the second most number of goals this season in the Premier League. Arsenal made it to the Champions League final, having scored. I mean, okay, it wasn't the most. Our opponents, PSG, scored the most, but we have the highest goal difference. The free-flowing nature of goals was evident in the Champions League. It was evident in, I would say, half of the Premier League games, of which the other half was, yes, very pragmatic football. I think it's an unfair narrative. And it is made even worse by the context of we were up against 115 Charges FC. With that demon Pep Guardiola.
Psst, come on, speak on it, man.
And I know Liverpool fans know the same. They know the drill. You had the same.
We've been there. We've been fighting many long years. Once again, when is the FA ruling on these cases?
Didn't you see that there's news coming out that they're trying to make it so that it doesn't have to go out, like it doesn't have to become a case. It can be solved internally type of thing. Anyway, it's a lot of the story.
You know, this sounds... I didn't know Cab 3 was coming to the PL.
Hey, Zimbabweans leading the way once again. My point is, yes, it's true that in some games it was not pretty. I don't want to hear a peep from no Chelsea fans who know that that's how they won previous Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, first of all. Second of all, everyone knows that in the past 3 seasons where Arsenal came second, okay, last season was, we were fine. We were not like, I think even Arsenal fans were like, nah, this season is nothing. But the previous season, the one before that, we were lighting up that Premier League. We were lighting it up. 4-0s and 5-0s galore. But it was not enough because every once in a while there'd be a stumble. And that's just how, guys, it's 38 matches, not including FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Champions League, not including those. I think Arsenal have played 62 matches or something this season. There's no way you're going to be at your best in even 3/4 of those matches, unless you are Pep Guardiola and his demons. So, of course, there were several games that had to be 1-0 wins, and I love it. I love it. In fact, I love that our most recent Burnley game, which I initially went into it hoping that, listen, let's blow them away quickly. But then when it was a 1-0 win from a corner, I realized I actually love this more because I know it's making people mad. It's making people so mad. Secondly.
But also, here's the thing. Like, I don't mean to rain on your parade. But it's something that I've noticed. Why is making people mad? Why does it bring you joy?
I'm going to come to that. I actually have it. That's the next thing I'm going to talk about after addressing narratives. It's the hate watch. I'll come back to it. So the second narrative I wanted to address was something that you said, probably inadvertently, and a lot of people have been saying it, which is that I think how did you phrase it? You said perennial. How did you phrase it that
you're super edging?
You basically said we always come second. No, we don't. What we always do since 22 years ago was not be in the conversation. Until 4 years ago.
Not always. I mean, leading up to you guys' wins, there's always, as you mentioned, a 4 and now 3-year run of you guys finishing second until you finally get over the hump.
Do you know why I love that? Do you know why I love it? In the moment, it hurts. But do you know why there were literally over 100,000 people in the streets of London, not to mention the thousands that were in Uganda, Ethiopia, Kenya. I'm sure somewhere in Harare. I didn't end up going to Pablo's, so I don't know. It's because it felt like you fought for it and you were almost there and then you got it. Unlike the feeling that you'd still enjoy it, but the feeling that comes with we just bought the best players and then we won. It really felt like you did it in an authentic, organic way. You were 8th, then 8th, then 5th, then 2nd, then 2nd, then 2nd, and then you finally got over the line.
It feels sustainable. It feels proper. So I don't like the way that it's phrased as if, no, you guys just couldn't do it, and well done, you finally did it. No, the whole journey was the attempt to do it. There's another narrative I want to address. It's somewhat related to the one about pretty football. Set pieces. Give me more. I want more. Give me more. In fact, I hope next season we win every game 1-0 and each of them is a corner or a set piece. Corner. Because what do you mean? Everyone has access to these things. It's not some secret special cheat code that Arsenal have. Everyone has access to the same rules. If you know we're going to put Gabriel in the box, put people to mark him. What's the problem? What's the issue here? Cry more, actually, please. Then, on Tuesday evening, I had the most amazing time watching the sheer joy and elation that was on the faces of Declan Rice and Urian Timber and Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka's gal posted, she said, my fiance, my winger, on her Instagram. Bukayo comments in the comments there, he's like, who is your winger? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with that viral clip of, who is your winger? Saka is my winger. Saka is my winger. Who is your winger? That's obviously what he was referencing. I want him to talk that talk. We were humble. We had to be humble. We had to be, Phil. We had to be. I mean, even just in conversations that I have with people, I tried my best to hold my own, but ultimately it's a competitive sport. You have to win. Yes, it's entertainment and all of that. That's cool, but those are bonuses. It's competitive sport. You got to win. Mm-hmm. So now that we've won, I can't wait to see a little bit of arrogance. I can taste it. They called us bottlers. Now we're holding the bottle.
It's a cup. But...
No, I mean, that was Miles Lewis Skelly. He was holding a bottle of champagne, which I'm not sure he's old enough to. I think he's 17. But anyway, that's besides the point. Now, on your question about the hate watch, social media has done some weird things to live sport. There's always been rivals, right? There's always been rivalry and banter. But in a week, if there's one match, that's one match of actually watching football and 6 days of banter between fans, which didn't really exist outside of social media. I mean, it did, but it was like in person and it was limited. Now, especially with football troll accounts and banter and all of that, the hate watch, I think, has almost overtaken for many people actually liking your team. So what I was about to say is after I'd finished watching the elation, I went to bed feeling so happy. I woke up the next day. I had to wake up early. It was actually bad because I was supposed to take my cats to go get spayed. And then I woke up a bit late.
Stop genital mutilation.
Then I couldn't find the cat. And then by the time I eventually found the cat, I went to the SPCA. And the SPCA was, you've missed your window. Unfortunately, we'll have to book another date. I was smiling, fam. I was cheesing. I was like, no problem. By the way, SPCA is a great place to go have this stuff done.
Where else should you go?
Well, a lot of people go to private vets and stuff. SPCA, I mean, they charge you and all that, but...
Yeah, but they don't... Wait, they actually don't charge? I remember we used to do that for free.
Yeah.
We used to get our dogs neutered for free.
So you fill out a form. If you have no source of income and it's an honor system, so you can literally say, I have no money, then they'll do it for free, I think. But otherwise...
So wait, how much did you pay?
I haven't paid yet because that hasn't been done. I've had to reset, but it's $35, sorry. $35.
Oh, so you're doing good. So they obviously were like... Normally this is free, but this
no.
We're charging him the cost of 2 large pizzas. That's what we're doing.
They give you the form and then you fill it out. Anyway,
and you put out your salary, and then they're like, money bags has arrived. Mr.
Anyway,
Carbon Credits.
My point is, it was a bit of a shambles of a morning, but I was in such a good mood. It was fine. It was all good. Anyway, at some point, I came across a video of the Man City team crying. And then I felt a new exhilaration, a new thrill. I saw it was Rodri and Bernardo Silva with tears in their faces. And there's just like a shiver that went down my spine of joy. I can't explain it.
You can't be eating that.
Almost as good as the one that I felt when I realized we'd won. And then I had to go, I literally searched Manchester City after the Bournemouth game. Oh, Haaland posted something on his Twitter. I mean, he was trying to be a good sport, I guess. He said, congratulations, Arsenal. We weren't really our level. I enjoyed it. I watched some Chelsea content creators. I watched this guy called Matisse, Chelsea content creator. He was like, listen, man, this is tough for me to say. It's tough. I unlocked a new joy watching other people's pain. Mm-hmm. And I think in this banter era of football, you can now enjoy twice, but it also means you can cry twice. When your team loses, and then when your hate watch fails. So yeah. So
I've never understood a hate watch. No, I've enjoyed seeing it now. I remember like 8-2. 8-2 was funny. It wasn't a hate watch.
Yeah, that's different. There's like banter, laughing, whatever. And also like, guys, for the record, obviously this is all jokes, right? It's not like I genuinely hate a team, but I do not like, there's two teams I thoroughly don't like. I mean, I don't like Manchester City, but that's like a plastic thing. They actually play really good football, but it's also, you guys just bought all the most expensive players and you bought the best coach and then now you're winning. Wow, surprise. But still, they play good football. And I can't really say I hate them, but whatevs. But Manchester United and Chelsea. And the reason for that, Manchester United is because I think it's trauma. When I was much younger and when we were going through our tough times.
When he was a young warthog.
Manchester United were on an incredible run. Alex Ferguson, what. It was peak times.
I don't think it's trauma. I genuinely think if there's Manchester United are just not likable because their fans are not likable. Like globally, Man United fans are insufferable.
I hear that.
I respect Rooney. I genuinely respect Rooney as a player,
even as a pundit. Surprisingly enough,
exactly because I believe Wayne Rooney, but also he's a Scouse, so maybe that's why. I don't know, but I speak like I grew up in Liverpool. You know what I mean? Like Wayne Rooney, I respect. Obviously, Mhako, great. I'm trying to think who. Obviously, Dwight York, Andy Cole. Big fans of those guys. Outside of that, I don't really like that team. Like any iteration of that team from 1999 onwards. Like Scholes, terrible person. And then he does the weird stuff with his daughter's feet. Have you seen? You remember that? Remember that? Oh, don't Google Paul Scholes' daughter's feet.
No, I'm vaguely remembering some scandal or something. But
he was on video biting her toenails, and he does it regularly.
Oh Lord. Well, I mean,
and
Paul
she's
Scholes,
an adult woman.
Every clip I've seen of Paul Scholes as a pundit is just him saying the most asinine, terrible take. But
not forgetting Ryan Giggs. Oh gosh.
The reasonableness in me wants me to say that obviously you can't make an entire fan base a monolith, and there's various reasons why people support various teams. But something I do believe there's certain DNAs or certain characteristics that are attached to teams, and then certain people's personalities get attracted to certain characteristics, right? I think there's obviously it's not true of everyone and whatever, but I think there might be a trend or like a trend in that direction. So for example, I think like right now, if someone tells me I'm a fan of Manchester City, I'm like, okay, clearly either you've only recently started watching football and you chose from what was in front of you and you just chose whichever team was doing the best, right? It's also fine. That's a lot of people got into football that way. Or if you're a little bit of an older person who's been watching football for a while, it tells me that you are wishy-washy. You only follow what's hot in the moment. Because you've never lived in Manchester. Manchester City has only had a decade of success of any kind of limelight. So unless you only recently started watching football, you're wishy-washy. You're the kind of person that That may be true, it may not be true, but I'm sure there's a trend. I'm sure if someone did a study of this. In my mind, Manchester United are very much... When I think of Manchester United, I think of someone entitled. And that may be true, may not be true. I mean, this is just... These are all just assumptions. Again, when I think... I'm biased towards Arsenal because that's my team. But I would imagine when other people think of Arsenal fans, they probably think of someone idealistic. Stars in their eyes instead of being realistic. When I think of Chelsea, I think of a little bit more of a sort of ruthless person who doesn't care about soul or spirit, but rather only cares about results. That may be true, may not be true. I don't know. But that's the thing that has been, that is the association that existed in my mind. Anyway, all this is besides the point. The point is, if Arsenal wins the Champions League, if the conversations, I already saw someone talking about Christian Mosquera versus Puyol. And obviously they're being silly. But that's how everything starts. It all starts with just being silly. Look, Declan Rice has a Premier League medal. Steven Gerrard doesn't. I think everyone can come to their own conclusions. Everyone can come to their own conclusions. Let Declan hold. Let him just hold a Champions League trophy. Actually, even me, I'm low-key hoping we don't win it. Because I will feel the pressure. I will feel the responsibility to start addressing each and every person who has said something over the last 10 years. Anyway, it's a great time, guys. It's a great time. I am in a great mood. Hey, if there's anything anyone has ever wanted from me, a favor, whatever, this week is a great week to ask. I've been helping people out for free all week. The last 2 days. So, good times. Anyway. Campeones, ole, ole, ole. Shout out to, and yo, I want to give a big shout out to those unemployed people who make compilations and post them on Twitter. Those are feeding nations, bro. Keep it up. You'll get a job one day, sir. Keep making them compilations. Feeding nations, I tell you. Anyway, couple of quick stories to talk about, Phil, after we're talking.
I mean, are we done? Dan, I'm more than happy to give you the floor to enjoy. Do you want to call some Arsenal fans? You guys want to have like a group therapy session? You want to celebrate that way?
Oh, I'm using my phone. No, it's fine. It's okay. We'll have our own. We'll have our time.
No, it's fine. No, I'm happy for you guys. I genuinely, I say that with no sarcasm in my heart. Like I even announced it, and I saw something in the group. I was like, guys, I personally don't get it. I don't get how you can love football the way I love football and be upset with Arsenal winning. Granted, this season I have not watched as much football as I am, so it may not be the beautiful football that made me enjoy watching Arsenal in my youth. But just as a concept, the fact that they were able to win again makes me happy. The fact that Mikel Arteta was able to do it makes me happy.
Actually,
now that you raised,
Thank you, Phil, for raising. There's two things now. Two extra things I'd forgotten to mention. Firstly, take away any rivalry for a moment and just look at this as an objective story. Imagine you're watching a movie about a fictional team, the Hurricanes. Storm times coming to you today. Right? Here's this former player, protege of the world's best coach, arguably, Pep Guardiola. He comes in as a young manager. Everyone thinks he is not ready to take on the reins of a big club. And he flounders. He struggles. First season, he gets himself an FA Cup, but it's very difficult. Like, credit to him, but it wasn't his team. He was working with what he had, and he got himself an FA Cup. Cool. He starts building his own philosophy, his own team. Next season, struggle, come 8th. Some teams would have fired him. But I remember the very first day he came in, his very first press conference, he won me over. He won me over. He won me over right there. And then I had my frustrating times, but I was like, no, this is the guy to do it. And it's been constant progression bit by bit. Even the three-peat of the second, there was progression in the Champions League. Quarterfinals, then semifinals, now finals. It's just progression. Finding the right pieces, working with what could be done, what can't be. It's a beautiful story, and he finally won. Boyhood fan, played for the team, captained the team, went and studied under the legend himself, came back and won it with his club after adversity. This is Field of Dreams over here, man. Give us this movie.
Dad, I don't know if you can see this. I'm having a laugh. There's someone who posted from an office, one of the record label offices, and there's some Twimbos there. And the Arsenal fans all week have been coming to work in their Arsenal kit. Let me see. I don't know if you can see this video on the screen. Can you see it?
Uh-huh. Yes.
So this is day 2 of the page. Look at this. So I literally was in an important meeting with one of these people this morning. Everyone else is in suits. He comes into the boardroom with an ass. Oh, I've had a good laugh.
The second thing I wanted to address, why to a small extent, I can understand a little bit of why, but I'm going to ask anyway, and I'm going to try and unpack it. Why did so many people hate the idea of Arsenal winning? Okay, I get it. Banter exists, right? Rival fans. If I'm a Chelsea fan, I would prefer Chelsea to win. But if Chelsea can't win, maybe if you live in the London area, you don't want a fellow London club to win because London is blue in your mind, right? Okay, I can somewhat understand that if you live in London. Maybe you're a Tottenham fan and there's a traditional rivalry between Tottenham and Arsenal. You would prefer Manchester City to win it. I'm with you. Why would a Liverpool fan prefer Manchester City, this team that has been accused and somewhat proven at least of some counts of cheating for the past few years, that have come in with all this oil money and they've won it? People say, no, it's because if Manchester City win, then, there isn't that much banter because of their fans. Hey, whoa. The fans is one small aspect of the entire, you are watching. There's no fans when you're watching.
Do you know what I realized then? The people, particularly any fan group, but especially if you're a Liverpool fan and you'd prefer Man City to win over Arsenal, you're either an only child or you grew up in a school that banned bullying. You never really faced adversity in your youth. You never went to school with a pair of fake sneakers and had everyone rip into you for a day. You know what I'm saying?
Banter, it's actually funny sometimes to even be on the receiving end of banter. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? You never tripped in front of assembly and every day for a week people were just bawling out at you. That never happened, you know what I mean? You never had an accident where you ripped your pants and now you're walking around the whole day with a booty in your pants until someone found a shinda and this string. You know what I mean? You've lacked some critical development skills. And remember that famous thread about that guy who was putting women through shege. And he was like, what I'm doing is I'm character building. You lack character building as a fan. Your character is very weak.
I get it. From a pure banter perspective, I wish my team won instead of yours. I wish Manchester City wins instead of you. Nah, come on, dog. Come on, bro. The cheating team. No ways. The cheating, arrogant team that has dominated for the past decade. That's the one you would prefer to win. As for Manchester United fans, you are joking. You are joking. The noisy neighbors. The ones who are reveling, dancing on y'all's graves.
No, if you're a Man U fan trying to support a Man City, I genuinely think you lack any sense. I genuinely need to understand. Granted, we know fandom as a concept. is nonsensical. It's silly, but it's fun.
Yes.
But within that silliness and that funness, there are tenets, there are rules. There's a code of conduct. There's a simple code of conduct. That code of conduct states, for example, a Boston Celtics fan cannot want to root for the Lakers to win. Sacrilege.
Phil, there were Chelsea fans who were saying, unironically, we must lose against Manchester City to help them in the title race against Arsenal.
Once again, Chelsea's a mess, but I shall come back to that because I have an incredible rant that I'd like to. This has not become the sportscast, apparently. I mean, watch out, Christine, Mike, and co. We're coming for your spot. Actually, but during the opening by ZFM spot,
Yeah, I'm not involved really, but yeah.
Should we throw our heads?
All I'm saying, Phil, is someone was holding things together, and that person is gone. Eh? Anyway,
you know what? Sorry to deviate. Are you done with your point, or can I now?
Yes, you may. You may go on. Yeah.
Okay. So, as I've said earlier, the season, and I remember there was an episode I did with Tabo late last year. When you and I were basically holding 6-foot weights up. It was literally week by week. Two Twimbos were holding 6-foot weights from the ground up. And I remember having a conversation with them, and he was telling us like how bad Liverpool were going. And I was like, yes, Liverpool having a bad season. I genuinely don't care because we've had an amazing run. We've won the Champions League. We've won the league twice. We're in a good position. We've got a good budget. We've got a good squad. It finally seems like Fenway Sports have it right. We've lost our manager. Arne Slot has come in. There's some teething problems. Maybe he's going to figure it out. Maybe he won't. But it's fine. I think we've earned a bad year. I still believe that.
Phil, you won the league. Obviously, everyone wants to win the next season, but it's okay. No one is bantering Liverpool yet. It's okay.
Yes, and I'm like, it's fine. I think we've earned a bad year because this year, I can tell, was not going to end well. And as the year progressed, it became clear to me, and I think millions of other people, except the people at Fenway Sports Group apparently, that Arne Slot was not suited for this position. As it also became clear to me and millions of other people, except the people at Fenway Sports Group apparently and the people at Anfield, that maybe it would be time for Xabi Alonso to have a grand homecoming. There were rumors. Obviously, his team were putting it out there. He'd met all the criteria. They were going to give him a long-term contract. It seemed slated for that, And once again, it gave me a respite. It gave me a bit of hope, a little comfort. Like, you know what? Slot continued to suck. It's fine. That allows a clean slate for Xabi Alonso to come in and he can change the squad without having to worry about past successes because everything's a flop. So he can really start. He's got a clean canvas. You know what I mean? And we'll give him a long-term plan because he's a fan favorite. So we got to give him at least 4 to 5 years. And in those 4 to 5 years, as long as there's gradual progression, I'm good. I'm happy. No problem. But for some reason, the people at Fenway Sports Group in Anfield, we believe in this guy, Arne. Once we lose here, we draw it there. We drop out of this competition. We're no longer in this competition. I know, but Arne's such a guy. I'm like, okay, this must be like reverse psychology. Like a double bluff. Like sometimes the poison chalice of support. Sometimes when leadership comes out in support of a coach, it actually means he's about to get fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I thought. I was convinced. And other Liverpool fans were convinced. Blazar bad. There's no way.
Can I just, before you move on from this, can I ask as a Liverpool fan, I know you're saying you didn't watch that many games, but do you feel that is Slot still figuring his way out or he's clueless?
No, one of the reasons why I stopped watching the games was because it was not fun. The games were terrible. What have you done to Salah? What is going on?
I've never seen such a nerf. Yeah, Salah was terrorizing last season.
Dude, there's this guy, I don't know if you've heard of him. He played at this small club called the Magpies. I think they call him Newcastle or something. Like we paid a lot of money for him. Like I believe he played really good soccer ball at Newcastle.
Every pundit at the beginning of the season tipped Liverpool to win because you were like, not only are you coming off a winning season, you've added the best striker from the Premier League last season, bar Haaland, of course, who's not on the market. the best prospect international striker in Ekitike. Remember, there were several clubs in for him. So you've literally signed 2 top strikers that any top 6 team or top 3 team or whatever
to bolster an already potent attacking trio.
You bought the hottest attacking midfield in the world, arguably. Some people might say Musiala, some people might say Wirtz. He's just coming off an invincible season of his own.
Yep.
Almost invincible.
Yep.
So everyone was like, yo, Liverpool is
looking strong. And once again, Dan, our defense was cuck, our build-up was cuck, our finishing was cuck. It was all pop. It was pop all around. Every game I watched, pop. Fam, we lost to United twice for the first time in over it. I was like, no, man. Where's the pride, yo? Where's the pride? Because we've had bad seasons. And we've had many a bad season. But one thing you could always guarantee was when Man United came to Anfield, some way, somehow, dudes that were playing at a 2 out of 10 would pick it up. Not this time. So anyway, I stopped watching. Anyway, but I was like, once again, the only saving grace I had was, it's fine. It's going to be over soon. Xabi's coming to fix it. But once again, Fenway kept putting out these statements of support. And I was like, why are you saying these things? Why do you keep saying? Okay, guys, the season is over now. You don't need to keep lying to us. Stop saying these things. And what happens over the weekend, Dan? What news breaks over the weekend?
Chelsea announced Xabi Alonso.
I literally threw things across the room. I'm not really like involved in sports. I was so upset that I literally destroyed property. Because I was like, what the F? How do you fumble? A layup. Now, what makes it even worse? Do you know what they did this morning, Dan? Did you see the news? Did you see the news, Dan?
What's the news?
They started leaking the news that Arne Slot is not coming back next season. You dumb mother. You dumb mother. Oh my God, I want to kill them so much. I don't lie. I accept a lot. I think I'm a fair fan. But this is my breaking point. If I see anyone with, even if your name is Fen, your way is Way, if sports is your middle name, even if you are in a group, I don't care if it's BTS, Spice Girls, I am strangling you. Oh, I'm so upset. I'm so pissed. I am pissed. Because now who are you going to hire?
Who's available?
And keep in mind that it's not end of the season. You've now hamstrung the next manager. Because ideally, you should have cleared this up in the background months ago. So you would have time to assess the squad, assess who needs to stay, assess who needs to go. So when the season ends, he immediately starts reshuffling.
Isn't Ruben Amorim available? I think he's available.
But once you might as well have waited until day 1 of the season. This is oh my God. And now also you've messed up the buying price because any players that you do not buy, any club's gonna know they got you over a barrel now.
So next season, okay. City, I think, are going to be in a shambles for a bit. Maresca's come in. I think he will eventually be a class coach. I think so. But for now, first of all, Pep is leaving. Bernardo Silva is leaving. Who else? There's several people that announced. Who was the other person? I think one of their defenders announced that they were leaving. Anyway, some people are leaving City. Maresca is going to come in. He'll have to figure it out. I think my prediction is next season City will be mediocre. I mean, they've still got good quality players, so they'll be somewhere up top there, but I don't think they'll be challenged for the title. I could be wrong. City is City, but with no Pep, I struggle to see. Liverpool, this manager situation makes things weird because from a squad perspective, like you still have all these players. Salah's leaving.
Yep.
But you've got Ekitike, Wirtz, Isak, Szoboszlai, who in my opinion is one of the top midfielders in the Premier League. But you have McAllister, who kind of sucks.
And I think I don't like the Virgil van Dijk propaganda has fallen off a cliff. Granted, it was always shaky. It was bolstered by a lot of spurts, but yay.
No, he had his period.
that
Chel-
propaganda.
Chelsea is Pamawan. Financially, the players, they've got a bunch of players who are just, I'm sorry.
That's the other thing I don't get, right? Because Chelsea have, I believe, if correct me if I'm incorrect, because I came across this headline, I didn't delve in, but they've recorded the biggest loss legitimately, because we know another club in blue probably holds that actual record, but they're not going to announce it publicly. But they hold the biggest loss for a Premier League club in a season ever.
Yes.
Right? They've won nothing.
They won the Club World Cup, Phil.
They now okay, yeah. Ooh. They've now had 3 managers since Burley took over, if I'm not mistaken.
If not more.
Right?
If not more, actually.
It is, for lack of a better term, a cluster flounder, as the kids would say. What are they giving Xabi Alonso to convince him? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, Xabi Alonso had to, I'm sure his team were calling Liverpool and saying, guys, so what, do you want me? Like, are we there yet? And they're like, no, we're thinking about it. I can only imagine. To me, this is tantamount to not even just a beautiful woman put together everything. She's like, you want to get married. You know what I mean? And she keeps calling the guy she wants to marry. And the guy she wants to marry is still hoeing in karma every weekend. And she's like, yo, I want to build a family with you. Can we build a family? He's like, I don't want to lie to you, bruh. This touchline is touchlining for me. I'm enjoying the touchline. And she's like, Sha, can you please grow up and marry me? And he's like, touchline. And then the next thing you know, she's married that dude that never brushed his teeth, always has a button missing on his shirt, and never combs his hair. And she's like, at least he's stable. And in this equation, Chelsea's the stable partner, bro. Can you imagine? This is wild.
Anyway, football talk on Two Broke Twimbos.
Closely followed by carbon grid. So are we cancelling out that whole discussion?
Yeah.
I think that would actually have been a nice, had it been planned. That actually would have been an interesting chat.
Unless if you want to ask her and say, can we keep part of that discussion?
No, I don't. I think she agreed to do. She said she wants to do some research. So let's let her research and then think. Because the funny thing, she thinks you or I would do any old research.
So okay, real quick, this I'm just moving on from football shortly for this and I wanted to discuss it because I saw plot today and I thought about talking about it. So we were laughing about this in the Patreon group, right? This last week there was a bit of a spat. Some hands were thrown verbally on the timeline between Plot Mhako, journalist and founder of Earground, and Lady K, or Lady Kuda, radio host of The Fix on ZFM Stereo. It started when Plot was on the Denny J podcast, and he posted a clip from that podcast. In fact, it might be worth just quickly playing that clip. It's a 1 minute clip.
Yeah, I think it's important because a lot of things have been getting lost in context, and it's important to establish the context.
Okay, so it's a short clip. It's like 1 minute. 1 minute and some odd seconds. So give me a second to quickly pull it up and then I'll play it. And then we can take the conversation. So keep in mind, Plot was on the Denny J podcast for the second time. And he was discussing about, he was sharing his thoughts on the music industry in general. All right. I've scrolled too far. When did he post this? There we go. Here it is. Oopsie. Here we go. That's not it.
So you find, Kuti, I'm trying to be very politically correct when it comes to this one. Mm-hmm. But the people that have been in charge of the new genres on radios, they're pretty much the same people over the past 15 years.
The guys who control what's played?
If you look at the Zim hip hop shows on radio, they're your 40-year-olds. Mm-hmm. The people that are also in charge of Zim dance on radio, they're your 40 to 50-year-olds.
All right, what's his name? All right, okay.
No,
I'll put names. I'll put names. What's his name? But these are people on radio, right? Who are the...
They'll take offense. But when it comes to pushing a new culture, it needs young people. young people that are very much fresh in terms of just their music appeal and being able to curate and bring something, because right now, what genre are we listening to?
I never thought of that. I'm actually crazy. Because kudhara ma DJ aita ma club, kudhara DJ aiva ku radio. Achitodiwa because anenge ari yangu tana Otis akaipa, chakaipa varia. But there's havana DJ ungadani.
Yeah. But when I look at hip hop, what's that guy who's on that radio station? He's actually quite vibrant. I think he's not a young guy.
Which one?
Yeah, Mox. But I think he has his pulse. He has his pulse on the streets.
Mox, I like Mox.
Yeah, Mox is good. I think he's connected.
Animation.
Yeah. He's one of the few older people who is pushing the young vibe, and it's working. But as for my elders, maybe pangopane problem in terms of pushing Anana Madidido, Praga, and all these young guys. Because the average age for those guys is probably 22, 23, 25 max, right? Anana Madidido, Nana Junior. How young?
19, 20,
even young.
25,
Yeah.
even much younger. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the clip. So let me just quickly give an overview. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but obviously, as you can hear, Plot is talking about people who are older on radio and perhaps they are not as in touch.
He's very specific.
He mentioned Zim Hip Hop and Zim Dancehall.
Okay, which Zim hip hop shows do we have on radio in Zimbabwe then?
We have one. No, that's not 100% true. We have hip hop-ish shows.
But which is a specialist? Which are the specialist hip hop shows on radio in Zimbabwe?
We have The Fix on ZFM. Then we have, Prometheus. Does he still host a hip hop show on Power FM? Honestly, I don't know, but he used to.
Even let's assume Prometheus is still on radio. Cool.
And then then the person they mentioned by name, which actually now came from Denny J, was Mox on Star FM.
Mox is not a specialist DJ.
He doesn't host a hip hop show. He just plays a lot of hip hop.
No, but Mox is a drive time DJ. Let's not get it confused. Mox is a drive time DJ. Though Mox may have, and then granted you not that station, but you understand how it works. Considering the time slot he has, Mox has limited control over what goes on his playlist. Correct?
It sounds like he has more control than someone normally would in that.
But
slot.
limited nonetheless. Correct?
Somewhat.
It may not be as limited as others, but limited nonetheless.
I would say somewhat. Yeah.
Yeah. So we know who you're talking about.
Let me tell you what happened.
Before I get into it, tell me about your conversation. Because I'm hearing this for the first time too. So me and the listeners are having a simultaneous experience.
All right, let me just start off with the. So there was a spat that happened on Twitter because Lady K, who hosts the hip hop show The Fix along with PD on ZFM, she said, "I know you talking about me," and then basically had some very harsh words for Plot. She is the one. Like as Phil has intimated. If we're talking about a hip-hop show on radio, that's probably the first person you think of because that's the only specialist hip-hop show. The other shows may have hip-hop, but, arguable. Anyway, she, basically shouted at him, challenged him that, listen, tell me which old people I'm interviewing or which young people I'm missing, or do you even know how much I'm doing in these streets, etc., etc. Then Plot at the same time, he also... was posting her responses on his Facebook page, which, by the way, is where he's got a huge following for Earground and himself. She had some harsh words for him, and he on his end basically said, "I didn't even say your name. Who says I was even talking about you? Nevertheless, hip hop needs young people. Period," is what he said. And then
young people to do what?
So today when I saw him, right, I said, and for the record, I do think it's not helpful for Kuda to react in the way that she did.
I believe so too, until I spoke to her and then I was like, okay, I understand.
Is it? Okay. So maybe you'll give some of that context.
I don't think it's my place to say.
Okay,
I'll
cool.
phone her. So I just went on Earground's page. Guess who is the first person on Earground's page?
Is it not Mox?
No, it's you.
What?
You are literally the first.
Why am I on Earground's page?
Will radio stations in Zim stop playing AI music? Danny, that guy from ZFM Stereo. Dad, I didn't know you're still at ZFM Stereo.
What the heck, Plot?
Look at you representing a whole radio station. You were speaking today at a U.S. Embassy Zimbabwe hosted event. So not only are you representing ZFM, you are representing them at the U.S. Embassy. Well done, Dan. Let's give him a round of applause.
Plot. I'm coming for you, man. What the heck, man?
I think this kind of proves like half of our points. This kind of like proves part of the point.
So this is the conversation I had with Plot, right? I was like, I was coming in from a not overly serious perspective. I was like, hey, Plot, why are you coming for our people? What's wrong with you? I says, no, I wasn't even talking. Who says I was talking about it? I was like, Plot, okay, let's for a second, let's just be serious. Who did you mean then? It's like, no, I was speaking now. I was like, come on, Plot, let's be serious. I know, you know, she knows, everyone knows who you were hinting at, first of all. Second of all, then he started saying something along the lines of, no, but like I think about, for example, I spend a lot of time in Germany and I think about how I'm losing touch with what's in Zim. So since I know she is in South Africa, I think she's also losing touch. So I said, okay, do you know how often she comes to Zim? I don't know how often she comes to Zim. You also don't know how often she comes to Zim or how often she's here, which events she's at. 1. 2, I think while the premise of the point being typically the people who are most plugged in are young people. I agree with that. When I was doing when I had to consider who's doing which slots on radio, one of the things I would consider about certain people is even though you still love the space or you're still connected to it and so on, I do have to consider, is it possible that you've outgrown it? And maybe you should play more of a supporting role. That's something that you would consider sometimes. For example, Kimball is probably one of the best radio personalities to have ever come out of Zim, from a technical perspective at least. But I know for a fact Kimball is not plugged in to what the kids are doing. I know that. But he's a good radio DJ. So maybe it's not smart to put him in specific slots. It's better to put him in other slots, right? That can be arguable, depends on what type of format you're doing, what type of show you're looking at, what type of audience you're looking for. Hip-hop is traditionally viewed as a younger genre, but I do think that hip-hop being 50 years old now, that's not necessarily 100% true. I think there's room to have more mature hip-hop shows and so on. Let's say The Fix is a young hip-hop show. I don't think it's an unfair criticism for someone to say, maybe it should have a younger host. But to say that host who's there is not doing a good job when you don't know what job they're doing, I think is wrong. So the conversation I was having with Plot is, I think you're making a mistake in criticizing the person who's there as if they are somehow blocking someone else, rather than criticizing someone from stepping up. What's to stop? There's currently a presenter search. And to be 100% honest, this is just it's a flyer that went out. There's constant presenter searches. All the radio stations all the time are looking for talent. If someone is young and plugged in, they must step up. It's not a case of there's a blockage going. Lady K is not stopping. Yes, hold on. I need to hear what Plot posted here about me. Profit. The people who work inside, everything is about profit. The people who work inside, I'm such a fan and passionate about music. And I know H1 is. We love art and artists and music, but the company is trying to make a profit. So a commercial radio station, a record label, any company that's trying to make a profit will most often prioritize what will be profitable. Mr. Mukundu, I don't know the exact story, but I'm willing to bet that radio station in Sweden was simply riding the wave of public sentiment. As Matt has mentioned, in many parts of the world, there's a general...
Okay, I'll listen to this properly later. I saw him holding his phone. I thought we were not allowed phones in the embassy. Anyway.
Certain people clearly are.
Yeah, so that's a conversation I had with Plot. And from his perspective, he was saying, no, but I know I'm too old. As much as I try to cover this and all of that, I know I'm not the same as a young 18, 19-year-old who's really in the streets like that.
But what does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
So this was my point to him. My point to him is like, I think there's a fundamental place where you and me disagree, which is that you think that there's some kind of linear progression and there's someone blocking someone else's movement. And I'm telling you, that's not the case. Lady K is there because she's doing a good job. If someone else can do a better job, that person must step up and do it. Then they can replace her because they've done a better job than her. That was what I said to him.
Yeah.
Which I think he saw, sort of.
No, I don't think, I don't know. Maybe he did this time, but this isn't the first time. I have no personal qualms with Plot, right? I bump into him on many occasions. We've worked together in various aspects. Like, from my experience with him, he seems like a nice person. I've got no personal issues with him. I do disagree with some of his stances because it's very myopic thinking. And his myopic thinking doesn't change. He has the same opinion, which he regurgitates almost like on schedule. To now it's become like a running joke, especially on social media, where people insult him for that thinking because his thinking is very much, for lack of a better term, grant focused. He the way his solution to problems is someone else must fix the problem for me. And I'll go back to, you remember many years ago, we had a roundtable discussion at Jacaranda about radio.
Mm-hmm.
And Plot came in and he was like, no, but radio's not doing enough for the community. Radio should be supporting young artists. Radio should be like uplifting the youth. And we were all, I don't even work in radio. I was confused. I'm like, no, it's not. Radio's job is to make money. Radio's job is to produce content that people want to listen to so that they can sell ads against that content. It's not their job to uplift the community. Uplifting the community is a byproduct. Uplifting the community is a CSR initiative to buy goodwill so that people continue to listen to the radio station. That's how all businesses work. And you somehow don't seem to understand that radio is a business, much like TV, much like anything else. What you should be saying and what you should be advocating for is state-owned radio, which is funded by my tax dollars and radio licenses, should promote the industry and the community because that is their mandate. It's not their job to make money. It's their job to put your tax dollars to good use. So if you have a complaint, it should not be addressed to ZFM. It should be addressed to government-owned radio stations. And you don't seem to understand the difference. And he keeps repeating same thing over and over again. The same way he keeps repeating last month he had this whole argument of, we're booking so many South African artists in Zimbabwe. But how many Zimbabwean artists are being booked in South Africa? I think we need to address this. Do you know, Plot, you know how to address this. It's a simple game of supply and demand. If you want Zimbabwean artists to be booked in South Africa, South Africans need to start listening to Zimbabwean music. So, if you would like to take the mantle as someone in the media, grow your audience in South Africa. In the same way, I could also go to Plan and say, you know what? A lot of Zimbabweans are consuming air-ground content. Why aren't South Africans consuming air-ground content? That's not right. South Africans need to do a better job of consuming air-ground content. Why aren't they consuming air-ground content, Dan?
But, okay. Can I tell you something? I think Uruku DP Safil. Plot is a troll.
No.
Let me explain why.
I know. No. This is the thing. I'm agreeing with you 100%. I was just trying to say it in the nice way possible because at the end of the day, I'm reducing his trollish argument to how stupid it is. And once again, like I don't want to come out and say that, but your trolling is dumb, and it encourages dumb discussion. And then you play the thing that actually annoys me is what you just said. You then play dumb, like you don't know what you're doing, which now, based on what we've just discussed publicly, right? And what Kuda told me privately, I now understand why she said what she said to you. Because you're taking people for idiot. You're doing a lot worse than that, but I'm not going to say it on the podcast. But my mans.
So this is what I was going to say. When I say troll, right? So Plot he's a journalist who I think used to work for Zim Papers, right? I don't know if he still does, but he used to. And he started his own platform online. And his platform has grown and he's been able to build his own business around his online platform. For those of you who are wondering who Plot was, I think I might be wrong, but I believe he used to be an arts and music writer and then started his own space. I think.
I don't remember Plot ever working for
I'm pretty sure he worked for Zim Papers, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, maybe I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is he owns a platform right now where he posts a lot of arts, culture, music news. And like Phil said, he's very aligned with a lot of NGOs and diplomatic missions and so on. Now, the problem is, and I've experienced a small amount of this because, you know, I've received 1 or 2 checks now from social media. So I'm incentivized to maximize social media. So I've tried to deliberately stop I can see the trend going without me trying anything. I can see the trend going towards me trying to maximize views. And I don't want to do that because I'm trying to go a different route. So for example, I know every time I talk about tax, it's a hit, viral, shared, what. And I could then see myself starting to do more and more of that. But I don't want to talk. I'm not trying to do a show or to brand myself as someone who talks about tax, where it's relevant to business, tech, and whatever, sure. But in general, I was trying to go a different direction. So I'm trying to deliberately stop myself from going in the direction that seems the path of least resistance, which is say the thing that gets the biggest reaction. And I think so many people online do that. I see it have you ever looked at Zim Celebs? And the way they fashion their captions and the way they put things on, like, dude.
Yeah, I just stopped watching them because the homophobia on there.
They know what they're doing. They know that if I say this, if I phrase it this way,
they know. But I also don't want to support it because. But also, there's other things that they are doing. You know. Anyway, everyone, you know, having a GD6 is nice.
No, so I'll give you an example. So, you can see that the only reason you posted this was because you know that it would rage bait people. And I think Plot does that. I think he posts a lot of important stuff and that stuff doesn't get noticed. And then he also knows there's certain things I post.
That's
So even when he posted that whole, I can almost understand the reasoning. I want to try and talk about raising the arts in Zim. I'm talking about the events here, but people are not going to listen if I sit here and talk about some of the more pragmatic and practical stuff. But if I say, why are we always booking South African acts? Why is South Africa not booking us? Yeah, maybe I can try and pivot that into a conversation. I can almost see the reasoning to try and get there, but I disagree with it fundamentally. I think, and I said this to him, I was like, Plot, you're a smart dude. I know you're a smart dude because no one achieves what you achieve without being smart. You can't tell me you didn't know. You knew what you were saying when you posted it. But anyway, I also am trying to learn not to take things too seriously unless they actually are super serious.
Yeah, I think what I will just say is
also Plot listens to the spot. By the way, he says like, "Yo, I listen to you and Phil a lot." What up, Plot?
Until you reference an actual discussion, I don't believe.
Well,
a lot of people say that.
He what did he say? There's the way he phrased it made me believe him, so I kind of believed him. But
so
anyway.
I'm not calling shots, but what I will say is like knowing Kuda as much as I care for Kuda and I love her. Kuda also does do a lot of things that even grate me sometimes, right?
Yeah,
and there've been many times I've had conversations with them like, "Hey, Kuda Apache, A B C D E," but those are conversations for her and I to have. I've also had a conversation with her about, yo, how are you? Or how do you feel you're able to be in touch with the streets when you don't live here? Because you've attended an order of magnitude more events in South Africa than you do in Zim. And part of me also respects the hustle. Because somehow she's convincing these publicists that her hosting a hip-hop show in Zimbabwe justifies her going to a Netflix event. And I'm like, you know what? More power to you. Dope. But at the end of the day, if you're not touching the streets, because you can give a platform to rap artists, and I think she does that. You can give a platform to Sandwave, you can give a platform to Rana and Madedo. Okay, Madedo's more dancehall, but anyone else like who's coming up, whatever there is. But if you're not attending those events weekly, not just once in a while, weekly, and seeing the progression, see how the sets develop, seeing how new singles are being responded to, right? How can you be a true like gauge of the culture? And had he said that, and had he framed it better, I think that would have been a fair assessment. if he just said, yo, Sidewave just dropped a song thing, Mashoguda. I love that song.
Top tune.
That song is amazing. And if he says like, do you think Lady K has seen how people are responding to that song right now? You know what I mean? Does she understand the impact that song is having in the streets? That's a fair question, I believe. But that's not what he's asking. What he's saying is, old person no understand music, which is a dumb argument.
No, maybe he didn't articulate it, but it's the same conversation that you and I have had, Phil. Even if you do go to the shows, Phil, there's so much nuance and depth behind certain cultural things that apply to that time period. And it's not to say that old people can't understand. No, it's just that me, even though I may love Junior Spraga, I probably don't fully appreciate him as much as his contemporary.
But that's a false narrative, because you will never be that, because you were never, especially you started off doing a general music show on weekends, then you pivoted to specialist programming, and then obviously you then climbed the corporate ladder, right? So I wouldn't expect you. For me, when I prod you, it's like, you're my man, just understand. But for example, on the ZFM roster, the people I personally would expect to be at events would be PD. Well, PD now, maybe less so now because of his position, but still PD, Lady K, Tatenda, definitely. All the producers, not necessarily the host, but all the producers of all the music-related shows have to be, and all the programmers. At the very least, those people need to be out in the streets. And I literally had a conversation with someone from radio who was complaining and saying, fam, I'm struggling. I don't know why my people don't go out, because I'm out, I'm old, and I'm touching the streets because I need to know what's going on, because it dictates how I structure the music programming. It dictates how I structure the charts, because I know chiru pisa. Because ultimately, you might like a song, right? YouTube might give you the impression that this song is popular. But if you aren't seeing how fans are responding to that song in real time, you don't have a real understanding of the impact of that song. Because a song's popularity and numbers is, or rather, a song's popularity and impact is greater than its numbers on social media or greater than its numbers on YouTube. And that's my point, right? And that's what I mean. So you do need to be out there in some form or fashion. Or you have to have a representative or an emissary or someone out there in some form or fashion. And that's what I mean. The other thing that I want to get back to is what the insinuation was, and you highlighted it. There might be finite spots on radio, but spots will always be created for new and exciting talent. Radio, and I think Plot chose the worst possible time to make this argument, because ZFM is literally hiring. So if there's someone who's young, who's talented, who understands the culture, your opportunity has been offered to you on a silver platter. Simply respond to the call for application and submit your demo. And that's my confusing part. Is ZFM is actually actively showing that, hey, we are willing to give new people spots. Come, apply. And at the same time, in parallel to that, because of the internet, which you and I both operate on, which has given us countless opportunities, which you are exploiting, I am exploiting, you can create your own platform. And if you're talented and you're knowledgeable and you have the relationships and you have the work ethic, you can build your own platform. How many of these young kids are starting culturally relevant podcasts that you and I don't even know about? Because once again, we're not part of that culture. We're not part of the streets. And that's fine. What's for them is for them, and what's for us is for us. So for you to say, these hip-hop people are old, your argument falls flat because it's not true. Unless you know something that I don't, or maybe you don't, Dan, that somehow behind the scenes, PD and Lady K are conniving and saying, no, there's this new guy on the scene that's also talking about hip-hop, and he might have a spot on radio. Make sure he never sees the light of day.
But that's a different criticism, right? If that's what he was saying, then that's something different.
No, But essentially what he's saying is, Handika, because of the fact that Lady K and PD, who are quote unquote approaching or in their 40s, are on the fix, there's no opportunity for anyone else who's younger to either be on the fix or on a show that runs parallel to the fix.
Which I completely agree with like your what you're saying here. Like I completely agree with that. That listen, Lady K and PD are good at their job. They're doing it. They're doing it well. But is it possible that someone could do it better? I think that's a fair question. As for anything, any kind of media, yes, it is possible that there's someone out there who's got the vibe, who's got the connections, who's really plugged in, finger on the pulse, all of that, and that person could potentially do it, but that person must step up. But I think even like everything that you've said, there's a few technicalities that I might mildly disagree with, but in spirit, I think I actually agree with you. For radio, typically, you should be out there, see what's going on. But I don't think it's not like how you described it. For me, just to get into the background of radio, I mean, I managed a radio station for a while, so these are things. These were my daily concerns. There's a certain life cycle that happens, or it has previously happened, and I think it's somewhat been interrupted. You come in fresh-faced, young, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and you're thinking, I love art, music, I love culture, I'm going to do something amazing on radio. So you come in let's use Danny That Guy as an example. You are plugged in, you are friends with artists, you attend all the cyphers and the album launches and the concert. There's no event music-wise that happens that you are not at. And because of that, it makes you good at radio. Because you are talking about something that you are part of. You are part of the conversations. You know, all the artists that I'm friends with are because of that time period. I went to their shows and because of that, I was able to translate that onto radio, and the people who are listening almost feel like they're living vicariously through you because you're talking so passionately about, last night I was at Junior Brown's concert and it was amazing. You guys should have heard, and da-da-da. Actually, let's give him a call. And the guy on there is talking about, but thanks for coming through, bro. I saw you in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like you actually sound like an amazing radio presenter. But as you grow your profile, you physically cannot, because you can't attend 100 people's album launches. You're now choosing the ones you go to. You can't attend every single event. Your profile's grown now. Everyone wants you there. You got to choose where you're going to go. You're now weighing things by value of whether you should be there or not there. And what are you using to determine the value? Maybe you're now at a stage where you're thinking capitalistically instead of artistically. And for whatever reason, as time goes on, you are less plugged in. But you're now good at radio, but you're less plugged in. And you're now somewhat losing the edge. I think that's a life cycle that can happen. And not to say that happens to everyone. I think you sort of have to fight it. But I think it's unlikely that you're going to bump into Misread at every single event, for example, or Simba or Chamvari at every single event. You're not going to find KVG at every single concert or every single album launch. But
which
probably,
is fine.
But probably when she started out, she was really plugged in. So now she's doing a different type of show. She's now she's not plugging into the culture. She's somewhat leading it a certain way because she's been in there for a long time. I'm using KVG as an example. Anyone, this can apply to really almost anyone who's been in radio for a while. And again, I'm not refuting what you're saying. I'm just trying to paint a picture of why, as time goes on, a veteran broadcaster isn't necessarily as plugged in. Although in my opinion, the absolute best still remain plugged in no matter what.
I agree with you. So this actually isn't a deviation. Caveat being, obviously, I approach this theoretically because I've never managed a radio station. You have. I, however, I'm on the other side. I'm the person that submits music to radio stations. I'm the one that submits radio or has to submit music to fans and get promoters to hop on board and book artists and so forth, right? And that's why I specifically mentioned, I don't expect personalities to be tapped in culturally as much. Yes, would it be nice? Of course it would. I don't expect personalities, but they don't necessarily have to have first-hand knowledge because they will receive that information from their producers. I believe their producers certainly have to be tapped in because the producer is the one that gives you the yes, no on who to book, who's worth interviewing, what songs should be played here. And that's why I also mentioned the program manager or the traffic manager. Those guys need to know. Those guys have to have their finger on the pulse because that is their bread and butter. A personality's job is to be just that, the personality. So in the beginning, yes, you build your relationships, you do your thing, but ultimately, it's just impossible. Like if you are attending an event, you should reach a level where you're attending an event either for your pleasure or for work.
Yeah.
And by work, it's no longer just like what songs are popping. It's I'm being paid, I'm being get appearance fee. Throwback to last week's episode. And that's what I was trying to say is like for specialist DJs, I think that is because you have to be tapped into the culture. Also, with radio in particular, more often than not, the majority of specialist DJs on radio also happen to be actual DJs. As a byproduct of that, you have to be tapped in anyway because you're in the clubs by default. If you happen to be one of the select few specialist DJs who aren't actually club or performance DJs, you have to work harder because you are going to get lapped. So we gave an example of Mox, right? Even though Mox is at this point a presenter personality who's on a drive time show, he still does DJ. Not as much as he used to, but he still does DJ. Right?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if I can. I don't know.
I've seen a couple of things. I've seen a couple of things. He does more MC gigs than he does DJ gigs these days, but I do see him DJ from time to time. And that's kind of my point, is ultimately with putting a bow on this discussion is that's where the problem I had. And there were lots of discussions or people that were agreeing with Plot. And a lot of the people that were agreeing with Plot weren't doing so in bad faith, right? They just don't understand the nuance of the industry the way you and I do. And I had to sometimes explain to them, like, wait a minute, you're actually asking for new talent. I agree. New talent is needed. But Plot's argument makes no sense because the people he's advocating against, their stations are already advocating for new talent. The other thing is, when you're very specific, it's not like he generally said, I think radio should do A, B, C, D, and it's a broad statement. He made that, he stopped short of giving names and ID numbers.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And so when you do that, it's no longer a general statement on the state of radio or what needs to be done. It's an attack, but you don't have the balls to actually attack, which is cowardice. Because you know who you're speaking to. They know you're speaking to them because you've described them to a T. Have the balls to be coward out and say, actually, I think Lady K is too old for radio. I think PD is too old for radio. Or too old for a hip-hop show. Be a man.
There's a name for this. I don't know what it's called. It's just escaped me. I was trying to Google it now, but I don't even know what to Google. The jump of, because this is true, then you make the next statement, but it's actually not connected to the first one. So a lot of people who were agreeing with Plot were agreeing with the fact that, I think young people should also step up. But what has that got to do with Lady K? What has that got to do with her? Should young people step? Of course, that's true of everything, not just radio, every industry. The incumbent is there. Maybe they're even doing a great job, but it doesn't mean that young people shouldn't step up with new ideas, new talent, fresh. Of course, that should always happen. But there was a link it's basically, step one, make underpants, step two, get rich. It's like you're missing a step. How did we get from, yes, young people. So everyone was saying, yeah, young people should be involved. And those who are disagreeing, they're disagreeing with the second point, which is, no, but Lady K is not plugged in. Those are not related. Those are two separate statements that exist independent of one another. And I think,
but were bundled together by one person.
yeah, so then now when the argument is happening, it's people talking past each other because you're actually referencing different things. One is referencing the first statement, the other is referencing the second statement. So, yeah, I mean, anyway. And then, sorry, what was the other thing? I forgot what the other thing was, but
It's okay, Dan. You're old, and that's why you're not on radio anymore.
that's why I'm not on radio. That's why I'm not on radio. Anyway,
That's why you made space for the youth. Well done. At least you followed Plot's advice. Look at you. And that's why you're in the big rooms he's in.
I here's my thought. Lady K, I was trolling her today on Twitter actually, or yesterday, when was it? I can't remember. But I think Lady K does a great job as a hip hop show host. I think so. I think I saw a lot of hip hop artists that were saying like, yo, Lady K is actually the first person that interviewed me. They gave me my first listen on radio, all of this. Young popping hip hop artists and all of that. So I wouldn't criticize her too much. But as her former boss, I do sometimes think like, do you know how much you could do with a hip hop show? Like,
oh yeah,
the only hip hop show with the resources you have available to you. So there was a time when The Fix was hosting ciphers. Those were dope. They were dope. I don't know if you ever came across them. Anyway, just search for ZFM ciphers and check them out. There's some dope ciphers on there. Like this could have become a regular thing. There's so much stuff that could be done, right? I think that there are people who can come in with those fresh ideas, and it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. It doesn't have to be instead of Lady K. It can be do your own thing and let's have these guys, the OGs who are doing the work that they're doing, which they're doing good stuff. And let's also have these fresh ideas of different things that can also be done. There's 24 hours on a radio station, 7 days a week. Plenty of space and time. And like Phil mentioned, there's also so much space online to do a lot of this stuff. But anyway.
So, you know what?
Shall we end it here? We have work to do, Philip.
I think Dan wanted to troll Drake and Spotify, but we'll do it another day. All I'll say is the albums aren't great, but Shebang it's really catchy.
It is kind of catchy. Manish on the beat, Shebang.
Bang. And shout out to Maporis. I mean, Maporis is now global. Like that's the dance now. It's crazy. And Maporis meme is now the dance to Drake song.
Yeah, no, shut up. No, I didn't want to troll. I just wanted to bring up the story where Spotify posted that. I just thought it was crazy.
Actually, you know, let's quick. Let's have a quick discussion because there are implications here. So, the Drake dropped 3 albums last week. Iceman and what's the other one?
Maid of Honor.
Maid of Honor with his mom, I think. And 8 hours before the day ended, Spotify came up with an announcement. I'm also freestyling because you know me, I don't read. But I remember this. 8 hours before the day ended, Spotify came up with an announcement and a graphic that had already been prepared with Drake, you know, with the glove.
Yeah.
Saying that Drake has now broken the single day record for streams on Spotify. And the caveat there is, and it's also hilarious, is there's this group of fans that are fans of K-pop, particularly a K-pop band called BTS. And if we thought Drake fans were big on numbers and monitoring numbers and looking at charts and stats, they've got nothing on these K-pop nerds. Because these K-pop nerds banded together and they went, hey, you guys must be out of your mind. Pulled out spreadsheets, pulled out receipts, pulled out numbers, to the point where Spotify, within hours, had to retract their statement. And then they issued a statement that said the initial streams review process was completed manually. We'll come back to that word. Resulting in streams from 2 different album tracks being combined. Drake continues to hold the record for most streamed artist in an album in a single day in 2026. Once again, caveat, in 2026. We apologize for the error and have implemented updated review procedures to prevent similar issues in the future. So Drake went from breaking the all-time record to the 2026 record. The other thing is, remember BTS have been away. And they recently returned because they were on national service.
Which is a mad thing, but anyway.
So when you now say manually collated. What does that mean? Does that mean you have a human being in the back with an abacus and a calculator counting streams? But I thought all of this was digital. You could easily track it because when you go to an artist page, their numbers are right there. And ultimately,
It's actually insane. What do you mean manual? What do you like?
exactly.
What do you
mean?
even mean manual?
What does that even mean? Also, it's not like Drake dropped multiple versions of the same song that may confuse the system. And what we mean by that is like a chopped and screwed version, a sped up version, a slowed down version, a dance version. You know what I mean?
I still don't see how it would confuse the system.
And this is the ultimately makes no sense at all. And the greatest irony of this is, Dan, what was one of the things that Drake was suing for, if you remember? Like you mentioned Spotify in a lawsuit recently. What did he say Spotify were doing again?
bot streams.
No, he specifically used the term manipulation.
Manipulating the numbers.
But weirdly enough, in his first solo release since that lawsuit, Spotify is caught red-handed manipulating the numbers. Ultimately, I don't care. Like, I genuinely don't care. Like, I find it hilarious. I find it like incredibly ironic. I find it funny. I am not obsessed with numbers, right? I don't care if Drake does 1 stream or 1 billion streams. If his fans are happy, good for them. I am not a hate watcher nor a hate listener. I listened to the album. I wanted to like some songs. I actually wanted to like it. I liked a couple. The rest of it was
I listened to the whole of oh my goodness, Iceman, and I got 3/4 of the way through Habibti.
It's okay. If you guys love that music, I'm happy for you. There's 1 or 2 songs I'll keep. I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate Drake. Like I've said it before, I don't hate him. I just don't see his value like as a top tier act. I feel like he punches below his weight. I feel he could do so much better, but he doesn't, and that's fine. But this one, hilarious. I think also leading up to this, what did piss me off is the creative bankruptcy of the album cover of Iceman, especially at this time. Because Drake, once again, playing Mr. Colonizer, went and he bought Michael Jackson's glove. And then you use Michael Jackson's glove as your album art 2 weeks after the Michael Jackson movie comes out, which I went to watch on Monday, by the way. I can give a short review.
I am looking forward to watching it.
There's absolutely nothing in that movie that you do not know, Dan. If you're a Michael Jackson fan, there's not. I went to watch it with someone and I was telling them, oh, this is the part where this happens. They're like, wait, how'd you know? I'm like, can you please respect me?
I mean, I'm not like I like Michael Jackson, but I didn't know his life.
Okay. So all I'll say is the Michael Jackson movie, if you're a Michael Jackson fan that enjoys the music and you want to go watch a musical, like if you want to go watch a musical, you will have the time. The scenes with the concerts, incredible. I'm forgetting his name, Jafar Jackson. I don't want to lie. That is one of the best depictions of Michael Jackson. At some points, I even forgot that wasn't Mike. His moves, his mannerisms, the way he spoke, his looks. No, that is the best case of nepotism in Hollywood I've ever seen. And I'm not exaggerating. That is nepotism.
I saw
perfect.
criticism. I mean, I haven't watched it, but I saw criticisms.
That is nepotism done perfectly. There are criticisms of the movie, but it's not Jafar's fault. It's because it is a musical. So it's not going to delve deep into the stuff you already know about the abuse and the family and everything else. Also, because of this world, the 2 Jackson sisters, I'm forgetting her. She starts with an R. Dang it! I'm forgetting her name. The one that starts with an R and Janet
Ratoya.
They don't exist. Like Janet just doesn't exist in this universe. It's like a weird parallel universe where Janet doesn't exist. There's only Latoya and Latoya only.
That's weird. All right, Phil. Let's wrap it up.
Anyway, all I'll say is like if you love Michael Jackson, you will enjoy that movie. It is Rebby Jackson. She also doesn't exist in this movie. If you love Michael Jackson, you'll enjoy this movie as a musical. It goes a little too fast, but if you want to get deep into Michael Jackson and his story, especially his early life, watch The Jackson, The American Dream. It's a very old mini-series, but it's amazing. I even went back to watch it after and I was like, oh yeah. I don't even know why they started there. I feel like because American Dream exists, and because they jumped so quickly through his childhood, they really should have just started when Mike was a teen and trying to, break from the Jackson family. But outside of that, great movie, great performances, except I feel Nia Long was underutilized. The Jackson brothers are literally side characters in a movie about them that they produce, which is crazy. But anyway, it is what it is. But man, I had a good time with that movie. I had a great time. And I'll repeat it again. I don't care about the accusations. And don't you dare ever try and compare Chris Brown to Michael Jackson again, you heathens. My God, like even watching that movie, I was just like, you guys aren't serious. This man, Chris Brown, Sam Zera, you are on crack.
All right. Okay, on that note, a very unusual podcast, but boys and girls.
Once again, where else we had sports, in-depth sports discussion. Then we had a whole discussion about renewable energy that may or may not make the final cut.
No, that won't make the final cut. We can't.
Then we had a discussion about the local hip hop scene. Then we had a discussion about movies and TV. Oh, by the way, speaking of movies and TV, The Boys finale. Oh my God.
Nope. Please don't spoil. Thank you.
All I have to say is Jon Snow and Daenerys. I'm sorry.
But I just saw King Kandoro post here that at least they landed the plane. This finale wasn't as bad as I expected.
Kandoro has very questionable taste in TV watching because that whole season was a disaster. What I can say without even spoiling it, Gen V existed for no absolute reason. Gen V existed for no reason. There was Gen V existed for no reason. We got introduced to the most powerful soup who could control blood for nothing.
When I was young,
nothing.
When I was like in my teens, early 20s, I loved coming of age TV shows about teenagers or high schoolers going into college or college goers. The whole coming of age vibe, whatever. I loved that. So I thought I was like, yo, this is gonna be dope. And the first season kind of had promise, and then here we are. Anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Two Broke Twimbos. We will catch you again next time. Next week, it will be after the final game of the season. We will then need to do I have people's money.
I think I also need to figure out how to get money out of.
And there's some people's because some people pay directly into the thing, right?
That's why I said stop telling them to pay into thing into the paper.
Yeah. No, we got to do the countings of the monies for Fantasy Premier League. All right. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for supporting us. Please like, follow, subscribe. Two Broke Twimbos on everything. And I guess we'll catch you in the next one.
We out.